Hey there, welcome to ATL-and-29, a podcast that looks at the NBA from the starting point of Atlanta. My name is Kevin Chouinard. I'm here with Tyler Jones and Glen Willis. We've watched a couple of weeks of exciting Hawks basketball, and now we're here to talk about it.
Yeah,
Anthony Davis. Who has feelings about Anthony Davis?
I do.
Okay, what kind of
I
feelings
want
do
I
you
I want no part.
have?
I mean a lot of that is the cost of the contract. I feel like
Sure.
the production value is not justifying that. And if you read between the lines in the reporting, he's going to want an extension, and I feel like any extension carries a massive amount of risk that I think is not healthy for an organization. Rich Paul's going to do his thing, no doubt about that at all. But yeah, I want them to steer very clear of that. And I know there are Hawks fans that might be like, well, hey, KP hasn't played in 8 years. It feels that way. Can we kind of stack up, outgoing salary to kind of justify that? But for me, it's like I feel like Anthony Davis is not going to want to go anywhere. That's not going to be where's my extension, and I want no part of an extension unless it's like I don't know. This is gonna sound ridiculous, like 17 million for 3 years, like some crazy low number.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know that's not what Rich Paul is thinking at all, but
Did you
I
give
don't
me a
want any
number in the
part
teens or did you say 70?
17. Like I don't want to pay more than 20 mil. Like get out of here with that. He can't shoot anymore. He plays half his games. Like I feel like if they kept KP, like KP plays one game, AD plays one game, KP plays one game. So I want no part of it. That's my personal feeling. I want no part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the like to me, the only real like tangible difference between Anthony Davis and Kristaps Porzingis is the fact that I trust Anthony Davis's issues in the sense that I feel like I can rely on him a bit more, which is not saying much, really,
Yeah.
but I can rely on him more than Kristaps because I don't trust. I at this stage of what's going on with him, and I just don't trust him. Like just what's going on. This is 2 years now of illness, and he's like earlier this month he said it was something else, not the pots that he said he was dealing with last year. So I'm like, there's something going on with Chris Stapps. Hopefully he's able to play because he's still really good. I think what this month plus of basketball has shown is that even with his shortcomings as a player and some as a defender and how him and Jalen haven't worked that well,
Mhm.
overall, he's been the team's most impactful player. And like that's like I think that can't be disputed primarily because of the lineup versatility that he brings to this team that has just been completely gone.
Yeah.
There's no more two big lineups that Quinn can go to.
Yeah.
There's no more Mo has just been completely shelved, it feels like. Just because they need more offense. Like he without KP's consistent production on the offensive side of the floor, Quinn's like, I gotta go to Ace Newell because he's a better offensive player.
Hmm.
That's hurt defensively,
Hmm.
put too much pressure on guys like Zachary Reese, Shane Dyson Daniels to be, you know, better in the half court in ways where it was a lot easier with KP, even though Chris shooting wasn't there. The respect he garnered is just like a tier above what a Okongwu is given to the Hawks on the offensive side of the floor, just because of his ability to score in isolation, his ability to be a mismatch hunter. Like he just made life so much easier combined with his size. He
Hmm.
just made life easier for the rest of his Hawks team. With him gone, to me, I've seen like a real regression out of Dyson Daniels and Zachary Reese on the offensive end. It's really hurt them defensively. But I want to get back with AD. My takeaway is if the point is to build the best basketball team possible for the next 2 years, sure, trade for Anthony Davis. Maybe you luck into an Eastern Conference Finals run. Maybe you luck into an NBA Finals run. I don't see that team winning a championship. I don't see the bones of a championship team with how this roster is currently constructed. If I'm honestly solid, I'm going to my owner. I'm like, hey, this is never going to work. Like it's just not going to work because like for as much I've been ragging on Trae Young and Jalen Johnson for the last couple of weeks, particularly Trae, like because I mean, look, man, I love Trae Young as a basketball player. Like he is incredible to watch. But we are going now on basically 4 years of the same exact issue with the Hawks team. No matter what they do, it always boils down to they don't have enough size. And they're like, why don't they have enough size? It's because guys get injured. Well, guess what? This is the NBA. Your biggest basketball players are always going to have stretches where they're hurt. The problem is that when Trae Young, when you're building a team around Trae, he has to be surrounded by size at all times, or you're just going to be drawing dead on the defensive side of the floor. The Hawks, unfortunately, for the past basically since Clint Capella's near defensive player of the year run, have not been able to consistently be healthy in the front court. It has snowballed every year where it's the same December time. One of their key front court guys get hurt, and it's like, well, we can't win a game. Like we literally cannot win a game anymore. It doesn't matter the quality of the talent on the opposing side because we can't grab defensive rebounds anymore. And I'm just like, okay, why can't the Hawks grab defensive rebounds? Where it's like, well, Zach's not a great rebounder, but when Zach's in the game, they have size. They actually rebound when he's in the game, but he doesn't grab the rebound. But the bigger issue is that when you're playing somebody like Trae Young, he's just doesn't provide much value on the glass. He doesn't provide value as a point of attack defender. So he has to always be surrounded by bigger players in the front court and elite point of attack defenders in the backcourt. And it's like this mix is just it's a delicate balance that you
Yeah.
have to strike every
Yeah.
year. And there was a period of time when Trae Young was worth it. My thing is like you look at the other guards in the NBA today, there's just it's when he was popping, when he was legitimately one of the three, to me, he was one of the three best point guards in the NBA for like a couple of seasons. Should have had more than one All NBA selection. The NBA, like the rest of the NBA, absolutely like it's ridiculous how the media treated him. Earlier parts of his career, 21, 22, even a little bit of 23. Like truly, you know, actually, even the year before they made Eastern Cup, like his second year throughout until like 22, 23, before they played the Heat in the playoffs, where he kind of it kind of all kind of shriveled up for him, where the Heat exposed his real weaknesses, which is he needs to be surrounded by shooting as well. Like it's just if he because of his his misgivings. Like I combined with the rule changes all that, but my larger point is that since then the fundamental thing is that Trae Young as a superstar talent has not been at the level he needs to be in order to justify all of his shortcomings that he has elsewhere. I like to me, I'm looking at what's going on with this Hawks team. It's they might as well. This might as well be last year. It might as well be the year when Jalen Johnson's gotten hurt. The last couple seasons where they were too small. To be the year when John Collins got hurt and the same issue popped up where the Hawks were really struggling whenever they didn't have a power forward next to Clint Capella. It could be the years when the couple times when Okongwu was hurt and the Hawks their backup center issues were a massive problem for them for long stretches. It's too much. Like to me, I'm like, I just think Trae, if he weren't if he were just an additive piece instead of the foundational piece, maybe we're talking about something else. But
Mhm.
because he's the foundation and this whole entire ship is really built around him, I just don't see this working. So like I'm like, because I can't watch. It's really hard to watch Dyson Daniels and Zachary Reese. They just like no longer touch the basketball anymore, no longer be able to do anything with the ball in their hands. If Zach's not making shots, or even if he is making shots and playing well, it doesn't matter because they have to get Vit Krejci in the game because he's a better shooter. That's all it is. He's literally just a better shooter. I'm like, it's not fair to Zach. To me, uh, I think he still has a lot of talent in this league, but like, I don't see it with Quinn Snyder how he coaches his team, where it's like the young players who are good on defense are getting pulled back in front for the players that are better on offense. Like Asa Newell, who's been great to me, like as a rookie, he's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking that Quinn Snyder, a veteran coach, would play somebody who's this much of a liability on the defensive end just because he's better offensively than Mo Gay.
Yeah.
That decision to me has opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, this is I think this is a structural issue with the team now. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
with you, Tyler. I think it's a roster issue. They're one small forward, one center. That's what Quinn has to work with right now. In my mind, Asa cannot be your center on defense ever. Mo, I mean, maybe some like 3 or 4 teams where they play small, it can get away with it, that kind of thing. And we've talked over and over, like Mo's value defensively is great, like huge, right? But Asa is way better offensively, and Quinn is leaning into offensively juiced lineups, right? So that's what he's leaning into. So and I feel like Quinn doesn't have the tools and the roster solutions and all that sort of stuff. I know fans, people on Twitter, like you're giving Quinn a pass or whatever, and those things. But for me, it's like how is he not going to play 3 guard lineups like the whole game? You have one center and one small forward, you know. And what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed? And Asa has been a really exceeded expectations on offense for sure by a lot, you
Absolutely.
know. But they cannot rebound on defense at all, right? They can't rebound on defense, and so I don't know. I feel like they need to add a center. They need to add, it's very hard to figure out like what the roster solution is because right now I feel like Quinn doesn't have really have anywhere to turn to get more rebounding, more rim protection. That doesn't exist in the roster right now. Those
My,
those those resources don't exist on the roster right now.
my one counter to that is before Nafali Dante just got a string of unlucky injuries.
Hmm.
He
Which,
had one shot.
which Kevin witnessed in person each time.
He got one chance to play NBA rotation minutes. It might have been the first or second game. I can't remember. And then he looked nervous on offense. He looked nervous overall as a basketball player, but I thought he provided some size and physicality in ways that the Hawks haven't had really all year. But then he never played again because, like, offensively, clearly, what Nafali Dante provided most isn't what Quinn is looking for out of the center position. And I just think, to me, this roster is built in Quinn Snyder's image. He can complain, like he can go out and be the next. Hey, we like size, we like size, we like size. That's cool and all, man. But I, we've been watching Quinn Snyder coach his team for 3+ years now. He didn't like John Collins. Res, Respect. He didn't like what John Collins brought on the offensive end of the floor. They got rid of him for Sadiq Bey because he thought Sadiq Bey matched what he wanted more on the offensive end. Turned out Sadiq was too small. Jalen luckily showed that he was better, like good, and kind of saved that situation. But I just want to put a pin in that. The next year, the Hawks have Mo Gay for the entirety of the season until Jalen gets hurt in either January or February, and then Mo's not a consistent rotation member until February. Mo is just like they just sent him to College Park and didn't even think about him. Meanwhile, I'm blanking on his name. But he was the backup power forward, similar basketball player to Sadiq Bey, not as tall, bigger guy, more skilled, shooting, but he was small. Meanwhile, Mo doesn't get an opportunity until later in the year. Now we're going into this season. Zachary Richey has size, length, and athleticism, but he's not as good a shooter as Vit Krejci. And Quinn has decided that and V's playing incredible basketball. I don't want to take
He
anything away from
is.
V
He
here.
is.
He's played a lot better defensively over the last month, even though it hasn't shown up on the box scores. He's been one of the Hawks' legitimately better basketball players. Fair to him, he has earned every minute he's gotten. Unfortunately for the Hawks and him, he is not a three. And so when he's out there and he's going up against more athletic basketball players in the crucial moments, he has no ability to affect the glass as a rebounder.
Yeah.
But it's a consistent trend with Quinn. He will always lean offense first. And to me,
Yep.
in this era of basketball,
Yep.
this is a defense-led league. The best teams in the NBA rely on their defense to help them score and transition on offense. When the Hawks were good, that was a winning formula. Once KP got hurt, they were no longer good defensively. Quinn has decided, okay, I got to punt all my good defensive lineups. We're going offense first. Meanwhile, Trae Young comes back. He exasperates all the bad issues that the Hawks have, primarily being that they're just too small. This team is too small for any NBA team, but especially for a team that's being led by Trae Young. You cannot throw out these lineups, 3 guards, one of the guards is Trae Young. You are just not getting stops. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It literally, the quality of opposition doesn't matter at this point. The Hawks are just too small, and they're just 100% relying on shot variance to carry them through these games. They're 100% relying on, we're going to outscore these teams. Hopefully they go into a rut on the offensive end, and a lot of these teams are not going into ruts because it's too easy to attack Trae in transition. It's too easy to attack Jalen in transition, and it's too easy for these bigs of any caliber being able to just physically overpower the Hawks bigs right now. Because outside of Okongwu, they have no center, like we said. And I find it interesting that they went out and signed Malik Williams, who's not going to help in that department. There are big-bodied centers, athletic centers, who could help the Hawks right now. They chose Malik Williams. To me, that is a sign that Quinn Snyder has a vision for how he wants his team to play, and he will not compromise on it. And to me, I'm like, okay, if you're going to play this way, you are entirely reliant on Kristaps Porzingis being healthy. I don't know how this organization can trust that going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But again, this season can 100% turn around if KP's healthy and he plays the rest of the games. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I want to hear from Kevin on this, but like I look at the Knicks, like they got Jalen Brunson. They were like, we need Mikal Bridges, we need OG Anunoby, we need Mitchell Rock, and they
They
put,
got Huck Porty too. Who was playing on Christmas.
yeah, he was, yeah. So they were like, oh, this is what we need to put around Jalen Brunson. This is what we need, right? The Hawks. I mean, it's funny, like if you remember the ESPN poll where they were like, who had the best summer? And like over half the GMs and PBOs said the Hawks. Like, first of all, I think mostly about that unprotected draft pick they got. Everybody's like, woo, I want that. But like the Knicks were like, we need to put size around Jalen Brunson. We need to put size and defensive capability around Jalen Brunson. The Hawks do not have that right now. Like Dyson is phenomenal defensively, right? But their backline, they have no size and length on the backline. They have no rim protection on the backline. They have no rebounding ability on the backline. And so you got to generate ball pressure to do that. And it's just a mess right now. And for me, it's like people are on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever, X, like you're protecting Quinn. No, I'm not. He has one center and one small forward on this roster, and his backup power forwards are a third year guy and a rookie. If I'm doing Mo's math right, I think it's third year,
Yeah.
right? What do you want him to do? What do you want? Like, what do you want? He's gonna lean into offense because that's what he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, just my point on that is that this is the roster that Quinn wanted. They could have gotten more size. But those more size players aren't as skilled as the basketball players that Quinn Snyder wants.
Yep.
Up to and including, he could play bigger tomorrow. Like he could just decide we're always going to have one of Mo, Okongwu, Asa always on the floor at all times. But if Kongu's not in the game, I'm putting Jalen at the 3 with Asa and Mo. Like we got, but that's not how he wants this team to play.
Yep.
He does not want them offensively to play that way. And also, it goes back to my point about so many of the Hawks' decisions over the last 4 years have been with Trae Young in mind. They have been. Like it's not like they haven't looked for these guys. They've tried different orientations of players. They realize against the Heat, it can't be a bunch of specialists. They need somebody to take pressure off of Trae Young. They get DeJounte Murray. What happens? Well, in the backcourt, we're too small. All right, we're going to swap DeJounte Murray for Dyson Daniels. Unfortunately, Dyson Daniels' shooting is falling off a cliff, and that has hurt them. So now when it's Trae Nikhil, for as good as Nikhil has been, defensively, he's a lot better guarding guards than he is wings.
For
They're
sure.
asking
For
guard
sure.
more wings. His defense is falling off a little bit. It's not, to me, that's not his fault. That's just the nature of, hey, I'm playing with Trae Young. I got to have Dyson Daniels on the floor as well. Nikhil, you got to play the 3. Dyson's better on the, like, we're going to put Dyson on the best guy ball handler the other team has. Oftentimes, that's the point guard. That's just the reality of the league. So, unfortunately, Nikhil, you got to guard the second best guy, but you're too small. And then Trae is guarding, like, the remains, but then Trae's not even, but then sometimes Trae's not even guarding. Again, he might still be hurt. I don't know what's going on, but, like, the defense has been disappointing throughout the entirety of the season, even before the injury, I will say. But like, I don't know. Like, to me, I'm like, the foundation is just not there. Even before Trae came back, I was of the opinion they didn't have enough talent. I think that's what, to me, that's what was shown. It was like, because when they were going to their bench, their best bench players were Vit, Krejci, and Moge. Go look at who the best players off the bench for the Spurs are: the Thunder, the Rockets. These are the best teams in the NBA. Those are elite young talents. They have more than just, like the Hawks I think they've built up a good foundation, but they needed to add more young players. Kobe Buffkin, I think, would have helped a lot this year.
Agreed.
They decide, to me, that the Kobe Buffkin, Keenan Wallace decision feels more of a Quinn Snyder decision than I don't see any GM going like, yeah, I'd rather have the 26-year-old older vet over a young rookie scale contract, first round draft pick talent. I just, and then because I just want to go back to Quinn Snyder's. I think his biggest weakness as a coach is his inability to develop his young talent to help him during the season. He had Nickeil Alexander-Walker in Utah. They needed a Nickeil Alexander-Walker in Utah. Nickeil never played. Okay? Then Nickeil gets to Minnesota, and all of a sudden he shows he's actual NBA player.
He played Trent Forrest.
He played Trent.
Not only in Utah, but in Atlanta too.
Quinn has a type. Quinn has a type of basketball player that he likes, and a type of basketball player he doesn't give a chance to. I just want to, I don't want to harp too much on this, but I was at the Clippers game where they got blown out. It was before Trae came back, and I remember Zach had a isolation attempt where he got something in the mid range, got separation, he missed the shot in the mid range. Quinn immediately took him out the game. Immediately subbed him out. And I looked at that and I said, how the hell is Zachary Richardson supposed to get better if he's not allowed to try anything on the basketball floor? Now, the opportunities aren't there with Trae and Jalen. But even when Trae was gone, Zachary has never gotten the opportunity in his 2 years to play with the ball in his hands, to do anything with it. He might not be good at it. That's fair. That's fair. But young players are allowed to fail. Like, that's the only way you can get back. The only way you can learn how to like score on an NBA floor is by failing, as is by looking bad, so you can know what you need to work on. To me, Zach looks like a player who, after his rookie year, had no idea what he needed to work on. Because like that's what he looks like. And so, like, I'm not surprised by the inconsistency. I just think Quinn Quinn doesn't want he allows for his veterans and his guys he trusts to play, do stuff with the ball in their hands, oftentimes, and then guys who he doesn't trust, he's not going to allow them to cook at all. So like that's why I'm like, you know, would Asa even be playing if he wasn't making 50% of his threes? Like I think it's purely a Asa making his threes, Mo's not, Asa plays. That's that's it. And
The fun,
so I'm like, there's too much focus and 3-point shooting, and let's focus on how the rest of the NBA teams are playing, which is with size, physicality, and athleticism. And that's where it's like beyond like Glenn. I hear you about the backup center, backup small forward situation. You are 100% right. They don't have that. That has hurt them. But to me, I think the bigger issue is what Quinn Snyder wants to do as a coach in relations to the other 29 teams in the NBA. Because I think I'm of the opinion the NBA is just moving away from this brand of the Budenholzer style brand of basketball. Like
Oh, totally.
it's a way more isolation. It's way more size and isolations. Kenny Atkins teams are struggling with this right now. Budenholzer is out the league right now. Like I'm kind of the opinion. Taylor Jenkins is out the league, and I thought Taylor was a great coach. The Grizzlies are like,
Yes.
nope,
Yeah.
we want to play differently. So like
Yeah.
I do wonder if we're behind, if the Hawks as an organization with how they're running their operation are behind what the current meta is. That's where my opinion is.
Okay, so Kevin, question for you. This summer, the Hawks lean way offense, like way Kennard and KP and et cetera, et cetera. And Nikhil's a great defender, but man, he's been an offensive revelation in this too. But man, the league is like you got to win with defense. You got to get stops. You got to get rebounds. You got to get you have to be able to set your defense. You have to make shot. And the Hawks, you get in the fourth quarter, and that's just not happening. So, I mean, you're the. I mean, I watch on. I mean, I miss. Everybody knows I lost a loved one and all that sort of stuff, but I missed 4 or 5 games. But you watch them, it's like it's the fourth quarter, and everything just feels tight, and like the execution is it's just there's no fluidity to it when it gets late and close. But is that what you see live when you're watching this team play too, Kevin?
I mean, I guess I would go back to Tyler's point from a way back earlier in this podcast when he talked about how for a number of years the key issue has been, especially a key issue around Trey is that when things go bad and bigs get hurt, it snowballs and it gets really bad. And I feel like that's where they are, just in the sense that, you know, you might see it over a short span. Like last night, Jalen and Onyeka looked pretty good defensively in the fourth quarter. Like they had some legs, they were able to apply themselves. I just think that, over a longer haul with Trey out at, trying to get picked on at the point of attack, that it's very hard for them to get stops and rebounds at the same time over the course of a game. Like they might be able to do it for short stints, but there's just not enough depth, not enough legs. Honestly, to me, not enough Zach to be able to do that. Like you were saying they got one small forward. And it's funny that, Tyler was talking about how it's difficult for Zachary to prove himself on offense. And it's to me at the same time, it's like with Dyson in there, I think it's kind of hard for Zachary to prove his true worth as a defender
Yep.
because they never like if you take Zachary and like magically transport him to like the Cleveland Cavaliers or something, they might need Zachary and say, hey, we need you to be, you know, take this A-minus superstar and have some minutes where you take this person and make sure they're under control. And the Hawks don't really need Zachary for that because they have Dyson for that. And so it's like when he's guarding like the third best offensive player, it's hard for him maybe to put his defensive imprint on the game. again, to something I was saying like a month ago, it's like Zachary is being shoehorned as a shooter, and it's like if he can make shots, great. If not, you're the plaything that we don't want to play with anymore. So, and that's why, when you consider like the mix of the other players, Veet is a better fit next to them in a lot of ways, of course, especially on offense. But that's why they go to him. It's like Veet is a better complement to what they already have with their other pieces than Zach is, and Zach doesn't really get to try out some of the other things that he might be good at, whether that be on offense and defense. So it's just hard. And one of the things I wanted to ask you tonight was like, going back to the Anthony Davis thing as a tie-in, there was the report that, well, if this actually happens for Anthony Davis, that Zachary is going to be, Zachary might be part of the deal. And if he's the only small forward on the roster right now, how would you feel about that?
No, I think it's bad. And I understand. I see all the stuff on X, on Blue Sky, on social media around. Oh, Zach just stands and Zach is doing what Quinn asked him to do on offense, right? Spacing the floor, creating that gravity or whatever. I know he's not shooting a great percentage like he was last year from the 3-point line, but he's still doing the things they ask him to do. And the Hawks organization values players who do the thing that you ask them to do. And Zach buys into that, right? But I agree with you on defense. It's like let's steer him into a role that utilizes his length more and utilizes like his activity more and those things. But it's just hard with Nick when he's on with Nikhil and Dyson. It's hard to get him into that role. So for me, it's like I still really believe in Zach a lot, like a lot, a ton, you know. But I feel like the roster construction is squeezing him out of a role that allows him to bring his maximum impact, and I can't hold that against him. That's my viewpoint. Someone else can disagree or whatever, but in my mind, they need to fix that, and they got to
And,
figure that out.
and I'm like, that's where I'm like, look, look, people are like the Hawks need to go for AD. I'm of the opposite. I'm like, I'm looking at selling at the deadline, like up to and including a Kongu. Uh, I'd hold on to Jalen just because 30 mil a year. I don't think you can get equal value, but like really any vet, like even Nikhil, like you get a good deal for Nikhil, I'd be okay with trading. I just think overall the foundation of this team, like this team, how they're currently constructed is just not going to work. Like it's just not like and like to the Zach. I hear people and say he hasn't been good enough. I would agree with you. He hasn't been good enough. But like I would like to see him get the opportunities to show that he can be good enough. Because I think he can get there. He's still a good player. Like he's still a useful, good NBA player. But he doesn't have the opportunity to be the best version of himself on this current Hawks team. And so that's where I'm like, hey man, let's kind of let's kind of retool around this first round, this upcoming pick that the Hawks got, and
Mhm.
kind of like let's clear the deck here of these salary. That's why I'm like, if they don't, I'd be okay with just letting KP's contract expire, Kennard's contract expire, uh, trading Trey Young, unfortunately, trading Onyeka if I can get good value for it. If not, Nikhil and Onyeka are on such good deals, you can keep them. But like I'm just of the opinion like they got they need to lean more. I think there's going to come a point in the season, especially if KP doesn't get healthy here and they don't make a move at center. I think it's just going to come a point where the Hawks kind of uh, take the foot off their gas, maybe sit Jalen, sit Trey, and figure out what they have in Dyson and Zach going forward. Because like ah, the roster is the number one issue, but it's just hard. It's kind of hard with all the limitations that they have with
Yeah,
with Trey and to me also with Quinn Snyder with how he wants the team to play. Like it's like self limitation. So
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Last deadline, last summer, traded long-term money for short-term money, set themselves up for flexibility. So if this year doesn't pan out, fine. But next summer they have more flexibility, and I think that was smart. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you. And let's just say goodnight, Bob.
Good night, Bob.
Good night, Bob.